Did you know Echoplex has a 24-hour stream? That's right. Check out our 24/7 music stream at echoplexmedia.com/live or at eplex.xyz. Our huge self-submitted local music library plays the best tunes the Bay Area has to offer, and commercial free, well, except for ours, and even by request. Check out the player on echoplexmedia.com or at eplex.xyz. Bookmark it and enjoy it all day. Echoplex is very supportive of our local music scene, and we hope you enjoy the soundtrack they've so graciously sent in for us to play on our network. If you like who you hear, please go check them out. The names of the artists are displayed on the player at echoplexmedia.com and at eplex.xyz.
Death of a Classic by Dark Satellite. This is Local Love. We're back, everybody. Friends of Matt and all came and hit us up, and I was like, all right, well, you guys are friends with Matt, so we got to kind of have you interview.
Oh, thank you.
I'm here with a couple of the guys from Dark Satellite, 2 out of the 3 of the trio, it looks like here. You guys can introduce yourselves real quick.
Yeah, I'm Charlie. I play guitar in Dark Satellite.
Trevor, I'm the bassist and vocalist.
Hell yeah, that music video was really cool. We were talking a little off mic, and Trevor, you was that your first video editing experience of any complexity?
Yes, that's a good way of putting it. I've always avoided like getting too deep in the weeds on the video editing side, but on this one had to get.
He was deep in the weeds.
I was
on
very
this
deep
one.
in the weeds.
Man, we were talking about I fucking hate video editing.
I do too.
But I know like it looks like you spent some time on that, because especially if you were just getting going, like you definitely cared about the end product. You can hate the process and still care about the end product.
Yeah.
So, and that's great. That's great. See, that's the title track off your recent album.
Correct. Yeah.
Fantastic. So you were mentioning that who shot that video? Because that was shot in a very cool way. I kind of like that sort of just white background.
Yeah, so we had 2 camera people film us. The Super 8 footage was someone named Claire Donahue from Rainbow Tunnel Productions in San Francisco. And then it was, what was the other one?
Sean at Doodad in Roseville.
Yes. And there's about a few months apart from filming. So it was a long process of figuring out, what type of shots we wanted and, what kind of style we were going for.
That bright white background is very, very cool. One thing it does that is good, I think, for the viewer, but maybe might make the band a little self-conscious, is it really makes people focus on the members of the band, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it was hot that day,
right?
Too.
Yeah,
it was already like 110 outside, and then those lights were cooking us, and I wanted to wear my flannel, so that was cooking me even more.
Got to keep it real. Got to keep it real.
Yeah.
That's cool. When did you finish up with this album?
At the beginning of the year, it came out in January, so it was at the end of or mid-December when I finished mixing everything. Yeah, I mean it was pretty easy to put together audio-wise.
It was over, I'd say probably 8 months of recording it, maybe, and then it came out in January. Then we just, been playing shows locally to promote it, and then we just got back from, first part of our tour. So it's been fun promoting it. I'd say more than it was going back and forth mixing it. Sometimes you can go a little crazy mixing the same song over and over.
Yeah.
That's funny you should mention that, because I have a lot of other artists in here, and their least favorite part is promoting things.
Oh, see, I love just if I could just go out and play it on stage. To me, it's fun going into the studio, but when there's a lot of nitpicking certain parts, and then you hear something you didn't before, and sometimes if you listen to the same thing over and over and over, you start to hear things that aren't necessarily there.
Start to fucking hallucinate.
You're gonna
your own
find
track.
a mistake that doesn't exist, and then we're gonna point at Trevor to fix it, and he goes nuts over that. So
Yeah.
So it is, you guys have the advantage of having your own studio. So you're not, I've talked to some people where they felt very pressed for time when they went in to record an album. And they said that, certain things just had to be left good enough, or not even that certain things were left good enough that they didn't, they ended up with less songs than they thought they were going to be able to record and all that. So that's a real big advantage. Trevor, you run the Cactus House. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. And that's actually how I met Charlie originally.
Yeah, I was a customer of his at first. I would go in there and record some music, and that's when Dark Satellite was an instrumental band for a while. And I was kind of BSing with Trevor, like, "Hey man, I'm looking for a singer," and he tried out and he nailed it. Next thing you know, I'm going to a studio every weekend for years after that. To record, music together. So
that's good. I think I think about like my life, and like like the people I've met, and like I wouldn't have been involved in music in one way or another through throwing raves and DJing, and then then this podcast, I don't think I'd know half of the people that I know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't have any friends if I wasn't a musician. So I don't know. I mean, playing in this band, I've just met so many people, and Trevor and our drummer Travis. I mean, they're some of my best friends, and it's weird to think that I would never even know they existed if it wasn't for being a musician.
Right, that guitar is there.
It's my guitar's fault.
It's a what do we call it? Like a friend weapon.
Yes,
but not a weapon to use on your friends unless things get real weird.
We're not that type of band.
No, right. You're like, gear is expensive, and I love some of this stuff. Yeah, I always wondered about that. Like when, if you saw like a band, that they destroy a guitar, would they make sure it was their like least favorite guitar that they would use on this song when they destroyed the guitar, or would they just get like so wrapped up in it and then they go home and they're like, crap, that was my favorite guitar?
Right.
I think a little bit of both. I mean, there's times I'm playing where I'm really into it and I'll be more rough with my guitar than I intend to be, but you're just in the moment having fun.
And that's a little bit different than putting it through your amplifier too. So
yeah, I'm not to that Pete Townsend stage. Yeah.
Well, cool. So the Cactus House, I do believe that some of the other bands that people, maybe some of my audience, some of the bands that they're maybe very familiar with, probably recorded at Cactus House. What bands what are some of the San Jose bands you've recorded there?
Oh, well, Periscope.
Nobody's heard of them.
Right. I played in that band for years. So.
Oh my God. Your guitar work on Resurfaced, man. I was
thank you.
blown away. I forget the name of the song where the song kind of stops and then it goes, it's like, I don't even know if it's a scale, but it like starts to step through the tones. I forget which song that is, but that's like the tone and like the feedback and stuff on that is just.
Oh, was it My Disease? The opening track. That one has that cool, like harmonized,
kind of like walking sort of part. I fucking blown away. Absolutely blown away.
That was always fun to play live too.
Yeah. But we're not here to talk about.
No, we're not talking about Periscope anymore. But
hi, Matt.
Oh yeah, he might be listening. Recently I've been recording Family Obligation.
Cool. Kyle's been kind of a good Kyle and Tara have been like good friends of mine. They were some of the first people in the music scene that I met when I moved to San Jose.
Cool.
12 years ago.
Oh yeah, they're great people.
Oh yeah, they're fun. They're a fun band to watch and just.
Oh yeah. They kind of came out of nowhere too. Either that or like I just didn't see them. But then they played at. They played the Periscope show, I think, at Art Boutique, the album release, and I was like, "Whoa, wait, what?" I was like, "This is so fun." So that must have been fun recording them too.
Oh yeah, they're like the easiest band to work with in the world, and they're just such nice people, and Micah is such a good understated drummer too. I'm not just saying that because they're like regular recording clients. It is actually like,
dude is rock steady.
Yeah, super easy to work with. It's cool. They're kind of one of the bigger ones. Grace and the Grit recorded their EP with me recently, so that's Nihal's other group. So they'll probably be on here pretty soon, actually.
Very good, very good. Yeah, Nihal I had on one of my last interviews from the San Jose studio.
Right.
But it was more to talk about Nihal because we had talked about her band. Nothing wrong with her bands, but it was more interesting to like hear about her experience, especially being like a woman in like what is largely a boys' club. That was a interesting conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not always, but sometimes it's harder for women. Most of the guys, especially the guys that in like our kind of group of people, aren't shitty like that. But it doesn't mean that other people aren't.
Oh yeah.
So you said you finished part of your tour. Where'd you guys hit up?
So we went to Portland, then we hung out in Seattle for a few days, and then Eugene, Oregon on the way back, and we made a stop in Eureka. And then we're going to be going to Fresno, LA, San Diego, and back. That's October 5th we leave.
So you guys are doing like a kind of have a split in half West Coast tour with a stop home because
yeah,
your lives do happen. So
well, originally we were going to do it all in one shot, but a couple people told me like, hey, if you want your band to stay together, you should probably take a 2-week break in between.
If you don't mind, who told you that?
There's a booking agency that kind of guided us on, to reaching out to certain venues, and they made that recommendation, and I was like, okay, yeah.
I thought it might have been. I thought my first guest would have been Curtis from Monkey because they've been on many tours, and he has many stories.
To be honest, though, I did not want tour to end. I mean,
you guys are having fun.
We were having so much fun, and we never really get to hang out as a band. We're always just recording or prepping for shows. So being able to,
working, right? You guys have jobs.
Yeah. So to be able to sit in a car or in a hotel room with these guys and just crack jokes and drink beer and laugh our asses off and watch stupid shows was a lot of fun.
The break's probably good though. Lets you recharge. Lets people, if I don't know. I don't know if all three of you have day jobs, but it lets you hit back up your day job and see your family, see your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Just take a break. I couldn't imagine as a DJ, I went on like some smaller tours, but there's a lot less involved. Even back then, I mean, I had to carry my records and some headphones. It's a lot less involved. And like I was with a couple guys. I traveled with a couple guys, but it was because it was convenient. We weren't like a band, right? So it wasn't really the same dynamic. But I was I was gone for like 5 days, 3 shows in 5 days. Then it was like 2 days off, and then the 4th show. By the middle of the 4th show, I hadn't even played yet, and I was ready to go home. I was like, I just want to go home. I was like, fuck Boise. And then we got up for breakfast, and it was $4, and I was like, oh, I could move here.
Oh, right? Yeah, I wish we had that when we were on tour. God, man, shit was so expensive.
You guys. Well, Eugene was probably cheaper than like Portland or Seattle.
I forgot where we were, but I think gas was like $6.50 or something.
It must have been Seattle.
Yeah,
Seattle.
I gotta say though, Seattle was something else. We cannot wait to go back there. Mm-hmm. We had the best time.
Had you not been as an adult?
Never. No, we've never played there.
Oh, Seattle's a cool town. I haven't played a gig there, but I've been there a couple times. A friend of mine, one of the times we went, liked it so much that 6 months later, he was like, "Sorry, Dave, I'm going to move out of the apartment." It was back when I lived in
that's
Campbell.
How we felt. We were like looking at each other like, all right, we gotta get here soon again.
Yeah.
Moving a whole ass recording studio and finding a good space for it, that was probably a huge limiting factor.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, I mean, I don't see myself moving anytime soon, but I don't know if one of you guys move there.
Yeah, we'll make our drummer Travis do it.
That's super cool. How many shows did you play? Did you play just one show in each of those cities, or were you able to play a couple shows in Portland or a couple shows in Seattle?
Couple in Seattle. Right?
Yeah,
3 in Seattle.
Yeah, it was 3 in Seattle. We did 1 in Portland and 1 in Eugene on the way back. I might be missing 1 or 2.
1 in Eureka, 1 in San Francisco.
Yeah,
so 7.
So in the San Francisco one, you have another show in San Francisco coming up pretty soon. I noticed. Is that? Is it or did I get my dates all screwed up? And that was the homecoming show that you guys did in San Francisco, and it already passed.
That one already passed.
Okay, yeah, I got my dates all screwed up then.
It's okay.
I'm the best radio host.
No, our next show is actually in Fresno. So
cool.
That's October 5th.
And on that part of the tour, will you be finishing up with a show here in the Bay Area again?
Yeah. So we were supposed to play on the 21st of October, but the other bands we were working with, there was some sort of miscommunication. So we're either going to just take that day off or book something else. But we are playing the 13th at the Bistro in Hayward.
God, I love that place. I used to work at I was going to call it a cannabis club, but I think they just sold weed to people illegally. But it was like right across the street. So like if we didn't really want to go to the city or whatever, it was like Friday and we were like, well, we didn't really feel like going out to the city. We could always go to the bistro and catch a show.
Yeah.
And it was super cool. A nice kind of small place.
Yeah, I've never been there. I've heard, sometimes the crowds are really good. So
Yeah, I haven't been in a very long time because, like, before this, I lived in Southside San Jose, and before that, I lived in Campbell. And getting out, like, if I was going to go as far as Hayward, we were going to the city, right? Like,
Yeah.
because if we weren't going out in downtown Hayward, if we're going to make that kind of trip, we're going to just go to the city and go to like a big show or something. But yeah, that's a cool place, and it's a mix of kind of neighborhoody, and you will get people from like Oakland and maybe even all the way down to San Jose who will show up to that place sometime.
Yeah.
I like the venues that bring the neighborhood people in. It's,
that's been like a sort of a staple of downtown Hayward for a very long time.
Cool.
I remember going there, and when I was 20, and it was I wasn't supposed to be in there, but my friend's band was playing, and I somehow managed to get in. I mean, that was like 25 years ago, so it's been there a very long time. So that's a great place to come back to. And if you've never played there before, I think it'll be fun. On your tour, how were the crowds? Like, which city do you think? I know you liked Seattle the most, but which city do you think you got you had the show maybe with the best response in?
I would say it was Seattle.
Yeah.
Do you remember the venue?
Belltown Yacht Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a cool spot.
Cool bar. It's like underground from another bar, and you got to meet the door person in an alleyway, and you go down a freight elevator, and it's just this whole entire bar it's like a movie scene.
Right.
It's awesome. Everyone was super nice, and like parts of like just, I guess people who go to those shows all the time knew the guy who ran it.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just come into the green room and like make jokes with us and like just say the funniest shit ever. And we were all just having a good time. Yeah.
That's cool. How was the show in Eugene? Because I know Eugene's like a smaller market.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like a small type of crowd. I think it was a weekday too.
Yeah.
Was it at least like a Thursday?
I think it was a Thursday.
Oh, that's good, because a Tuesday it's not rocking, right?
Right.
Yeah, Tuesday shows are kind of hard. But yeah, it was a Thursday, and there was like this cool cat that was just sitting at the bar the whole time.
That's right,
and
Buddy was his name.
yeah, I'm glad you got his name. Good ass beer.
Yeah.
But we were like, there was just a moment I was standing in that crowd, and I'm like, what city am I in again? And what day is it? But yeah, Eugene was fun.
That's kind of a good feeling though. Like, because I mean, the last time I really felt that, it was more like I was on vacation and you guys were definitely out working, but still like being like, I'm not at home. I kind of forget where I am and I don't know what day it is. That's kind of a good feeling actually, because we're so connected now, like just so completely overly connected that like even not knowing what time it is kind of bizarre. So
right.
Feeling a little out of place, out of sorts, and like not remembering where you're at and what day it is actually pretty fucking cool. So if it's okay with you guys, we'll take a little break and we'll play play another song from your album. A favorite I hear, it's Little House.
Mm-hmm.
Anything we should know about this before we play it, or maybe talk about it after it's over?
Oh, we can talk about it after.
Okay, great. This is Local Love. We have Dark Satellite here, and we'll be right back.
Sweet reservation like a fool unwanted, rapid attrition like a fuel burning heart. Leaving the station with a sense unspoken, quiet sedition in the emptiest room. reverence, all good things pass over. Keeping, it's a new prize again. In reverence, all good time pass slower. Keeping, it's a new prize again. Reverence, all good things pass over. Keeping, it's a new prize again. Reverence, all good time pass slower.
Back. That was Little House by Dark Satellite, and I had forgotten to turn off the thing that keeps playing the music, so whatever. This is, we're professional here. Professional. I'm here with a couple of the guys from Dark Satellite. Your drummer's not here, though. Can we give a shout out for your drummer, please?
Yes, Travis Drum. He's a drummer named Drum, and he's fucking awesome. And we're so glad he's in Dark Satellite.
His last name really is Drum?
Drum with two M's.
That's very cool.
Sometimes I feel like he gets annoyed at shows, but like he'll be talking to someone and I'll just completely interrupt the conversation. I'll be like, dude, you gotta know this guy's last name. It's Drum, dude. And usually the person he's talking to is like looks so annoyed and pissed off at me. But
I like that. I learned, I just met you and I learned that you're like me. You do kind of like annoying your friends and the people they're talking to at the bar.
Yes, we're the same.
That's very fun. It's all in good fun, and you hope you don't piss anybody off too bad, but
not too bad. So, no, yeah, he's a good guy. He lives in Sacramento, and he makes the long drive to San Jose. At least like 3 times a month to practice with us and record with us. So he's a good, dedicated member.
Is this like on a weekday?
It's like Saturdays.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been so busy with shows, but our usual practice day is like Saturday. Which sometimes it's a bummer because there's a lot of cool shows of bands that we know, but we're all, Saturday seems to be the only day that we could all get together.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically one of the things, and I forget who it was one of the last, it might have been Nehal who said that, like, when you end up working in entertainment, you end up missing all of your friends' entertaining things because you're busy working in entertainment.
Right.
Yeah. It'd be in your case, your band has to practice or it's not going to be any good. And if Saturday's the day, then Saturday's the day. And if, like especially during the summer, it has to be in the evening because this summer wasn't too bad. But oh my God, last summer was fucking something, wasn't it?
That was horrible.
Yeah. I still wear all black though when I go to San Jose during the summer. So I don't. Yeah, but it gets hot down there. It gets hot down there.
Where you don't live in San Jose? Where do you live?
I live in Hercules. It's in the East Bay.
I know where Hercules is. Yeah. That's You guys are kind of pretty far flung, actually. You got Hercules, San Jose, and Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah, we each, kind of have our own territory, and we kind of have our own connections, and we mix all those connections together. And, that's why we mainly play shows from the East Bay to San Jose and then SF in between. Some Sacramento shows, but not many.
Sacramento, there's a lot going on, but like from what I've seen, and it might just be maybe the way in which I see it because of the people I know. There's like kind of a darker, like a little bit of a goth scene and like an industrial metal, like not industrial metal, like industrial rock scene going on there. That's actually pretty big, and that's
yeah. I've heard also like pop punk is kind of big in Sacramento too.
That's kind of big everywhere.
Yeah.
You can almost take the word punk off the end of it. Not that it's not punk, it's just that it's become so popular.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
I guess
Because that's all. I mean, somebody asked me to like define pop music, and I was like, "Are you kidding? It's just music that's popular. I mean, it could be anything."
Right.
Like during the '80s, it was that heavy metal that everybody was. Not really heavy metal. I mean, the fake heavy metal, the hair metal.
The hair metal, yeah.
that was being marketed as satanic, so that like the people would freak out about it, so that more kids would buy it. That was the pop music of the day. And then after that, kind of hip hop came along, and then more recently, it's been a lot more like electronic driven. The pop music has been. But that's all pop music, and people. It's really weird thinking when you hear people try to describe pop music. It's like I don't think you can. But yeah, that sort of pop punk has always been like big, and here in San Jose too, actually.
Yeah,
a lot of those kinds of bands, and I don't know where you draw the line from like punk rock and pop punk and stuff. So I don't want to start throwing around names and having people come for me. So although everybody in the music scene's super nice. When you're in San Jose, where do you guys, I mean, I know the answer already. Where do you like to play in San Jose?
Well, I mean, it's just Art Boutique and Caravan mostly in San Jose, and
yeah, that's everybody's answer. Have you guys played the Ritz yet?
No,
not yet.
Yeah,
we may later this year in November. There's a band that's going to be on tour that contacted us, so that's a possibility, but nothing is set in stone.
Yeah, that's a pretty big room. It'd be hard for like local acts to fill that room up. You need to be there like supporting somebody touring.
We played a place called The Orifice.
Oh yeah,
in downtown San Jose. It's right next to, was it La Vix? By San Jose State.
Yeah, Iguanas is around the corner.
Yeah, it's like a super like punk DIY like basement garage, beer cans everywhere. It was so much fun though.
The right level of sketchy.
It was just that's funny.
The windows were cracked just enough not to be worried. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people that showed up. There was a line down the street for people to come in. Super loud. Nothing was mic'd up, but the energy was there.
Yeah, good spot.
So I think the Orifice and Art Boutique, even though they're on two different sides.
Oh yeah, definitely two different sides.
Those got to be my favorite places in San Jose.
Do you know if you said DIY and I don't. Do you know if they're like was there a bar?
No.
No.
Okay.
No
So yeah, I know what kind of. It's the kind of space I may have once been looking for a different kind of event. Yeah, no bar, maybe no permit.
Yeah, like no real sound person either.
Right.
It was more like just turn up, and someone was just working like a projection screen, and it was fun though. It was a lot of fun.
You know if they're still doing shows there?
I think they are.
Yeah,
I think I saw one happen, a few weeks ago. But yeah, it's the Orifice on Instagram. If anyone wants to look them up.
Very cool. Yeah, definitely two different ends of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I like about Art Boutique, I mean, the sound's good, but the lights. I mean,
yeah. Bill's a great lighting guy.
Yeah, and I had to do lighting, and so I was like, I tried to bend Dan's ear about it, and Dan's like, I don't do the lighting. Because I had not here, but when we had the other space in the garage, it was like really hard actually to get the lighting for our shows the way we wanted it to, because you can't you get bright lights and you point them right at you. Okay, that's great. Now you're just casting shadows on everything, and you accidentally look up at the light and you can't see for a day. So that's not really doable. But then in a garage, you point the lights up and hope that they reflect, but then everything's brown. Right. So you're not going to get a lot of reflection. So
yeah, I think we played like a new song at Art Boutique one time, and the lights were just spot on. And it's like he must have just heard it, like, you know, because that song's not on Spotify or anything, and he just like picked up every cue we had from the song and had cool lights to match it.
I think there's a mixture going on there of like manual and computer control too, where they use the like here we have. I don't do it while we're talking; it would scare everybody. But we have the ability to like use the audio input to sort of trigger the lights,
like flashing.
So if I like screamed, it would just be like flashing red.
It would, yeah. I mostly use it when I like DJ late at night, like on Twitch, cool. So that it's, you know, the lights are going with the music.
Damn, that's awesome.
So, and I can't imagine they don't do at least a little bit of that there because they have a pretty complicated system. But yeah, the light guys working hard, and I mean, also they spared no expense on those lights. I have just cheap plastic lights. They spared no expense on those lights. I bet like one of their lights is more than all of my lights, right? Like and it's such a cool place. And you know what I like about that place the most actually is like you see people there with their fucking kids, and that's so cool. When I was younger, I'd have been like, what the hell are kids doing at a show? But now that my sister has kids and half of my friends have kids, I'm like, oh, this is kind of dope that you're able to bring your kids here.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a venue. It's like you walk in and it's this whole like comic book store, and I don't know. Art Boutique is just it's a fun place to be.
Yeah, there's a way in which that could be totally whack, but it's not. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a way in which it could be kind of cheesy, or like it feels like they're trying to kind of pump you for money or whatever with all the merch in the front, but there's no like sales pitch when you go there or anything. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Right.
And they do like a lot of cool community events there. They do like drink and draw where you can just kind of hang out and there's like a DJ and people are drinking. They do a good job there, and I'm glad that venue made it through the pandemic because they were doing a lot of online events, and it seemed like they were possibly on the cusp there for a minute. So.
Yeah, we had our first album release show there, and it was live stream. Only.
Yeah.
That's when it was live. That was the only option. So
they did a good job on their live streams too.
Yeah,
they spent a lot of money on cameras and stuff.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I know they spent a lot of money on their computer because they told me about it. Because we were streaming right when the pandemic hit. We were already streaming and doing some music stuff. So when others had to do it, we didn't really. We should have done more, I think, to help. But we had our own shit going on. But we definitely were some of the people that folks would be like, "Oh, I have a computer and I need to stream," and I'm like, "Not on that computer, you don't. What you need is a much more powerful computer, unfortunately." But most people listen to us, and it came out okay. Like the fun, I think one of the funnest things we did during the pandemic was the first sofa that was virtual. We were like the only stage that just went like all the way through. Like instead of having turn off and then go to this other channel to watch this band or whatever, we were just all the way through, and we were piping all the different acts in.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we like if possible, we were interviewing the bands like after they played or taking phone
in
calls.
between the sets and everything.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, because we were able to do that, right? And it's no fault on anybody else that they weren't able to. We were just already doing a version of that.
Yeah,
and so we were able to do it, and we had all the viewers. Like we were fairly new on Twitch at the time too, so that was like the first time we cracked 500 viewers.
Nice.
And so that was a lot of fun. We don't really all of us moved essentially, so we don't really do any work with those cats anymore. But that first sofa was a lot of fun.
Huh. Cool.
When does your tour start? Your tour starts up again. You said the 5th of October.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that like the day you leave, or is that your first show?
That's our first show in Fresno.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's kind of like with the first part of the tour, you're nervous in the very beginning, and once you play your first show, that the nerves kind of turn into like, okay, I'm ready for the next one. I'm ready for the next one. And now it's like a reset. So I'm like catching up on sleep pretty much. But I think once we do that first show, the excitement will come again.
That's assuming nothing goes horribly wrong on the first show, but maybe I shouldn't jinx it for you guys.
The first show actually looks really fun. It's like an art festival thing.
Oh,
there's
cool.
a bunch of bands, and there's like a cool like goth DJ playing. I forget his name. But yeah, it seems like a really cool little festival we're doing.
And so that's like probably during the day.
Actually, it's around the evening time, like around 7:00. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. When I think festival, I think like outside and during the day, but
That's what I thought at first too, but no, it's like a really nice brewery.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you guys will probably get drunk by accident, of course.
Yes, we will probably.
So I want to talk a little bit about the album. When you guys go to write, how does this work? Because you guys are all in like 3 different places, and I presume
Mhm.
that you're writing even when you're not together.
Yeah, we are.
So how does that process? It's not going to be the same for every song or whatever, I understand, but like generally, how does that process work for you guys?
Well, I usually have some messy guitar riff that either I made a few years ago or a few weeks ago. And then I will bring it to Trevor's house. And then me and Trevor will kind of jam on it for a while. And then Travis will do some stuff, and we'll just kind of jam on it. And then it'll slowly form into a song. Yeah.
So, you're usually the one that starts the songwriting.
I say a lot of the songs on the EP, they were guitar riffs that I had for a while. But that's just for the guitar portion. Trevor is always coming up with really good bass lines.
And like any of the overdubs, like any
Yeah.
of the keys or acoustic stuff that you hear, it's that's probably my favorite part of the process is once the framework is down, then it's like, oh, I get to just like, put this here, and if I don't like it, get rid of it, put something else, and then it's like I'll write all the lyrics, and lyrically it's kind of the same thing where it's like I usually end up writing like 2 or 3 times the lyrics that I need, and kind of like whittling it down to my favorite lines.
And there's times I guess it's like a writer's block pretty much, and then I'll sometimes describe to Trevor what I need and what I'm trying to do, and he'll just sometimes take my guitar and play it. And it's like, oh, that's perfect. you found what I was trying to make, or you created what I was thinking of. And then we all kind of take recommendations from each other. Our Travis will, maybe suggest I strum a certain way, and me and Trevor, we're always telling Travis to do something crazy on drums, and he'll do it.
Well, that's good that he can. That's good that he can do it. He's pretty. Yeah, I was listening to. I heard some recordings of your live stuff, and your drummer's pretty fucking rock steady. Like he's there. You can tell. Like,
oh yeah,
he's just right there. What do they? I think they say it's in the pocket or whatever. He's just. It's
Yeah, I mean, he's great.
yeah, he's all over the pocket. He's always like
He is the pocket.
The pocket is full though. Like he's a very busy drummer too. Like he's always like chopping it up, and yeah, actually the song "Death of a Classic" has a pretty interesting section where he's on his stack, and between that, the bass line and the vocal part is like an ongoing kind of like I feel that section coming up, and it's like, oh, I gotta extra focus on that. It's like kind of a strange polyrhythm, but when it's on, it sounds so cool.
Yeah. And like we want to sound like more people are in the band.
right. Yeah,
we want to sound like there's like 8 people in the band. We want to have a big sound, a lot of stuff going on, but we're all in complete control of what we're playing.
Yeah, I knew you were a trio because I looked into the band, but yeah, if I would have just picked up like the EP or whatever, I would have assumed there was at least another guitarist.
Yeah. Well, I guess that we're doing pretty good.
There we go.
So speaking of the EP, I was gonna play, I don't know, maybe Undertow from the EP.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll take a little break and then we'll come back. As Local Love, we're here with Dark Satellite, and we'll be right back.
I don't know why I'm searching, but I know
Undertow by Dark Satellite. While the song was playing, I found out that a organ that had been recently rebuilt was in that song. You want to talk a little? I know we talked about it off mic, but
that's okay. Got a little practice on the talking about it. Yeah, so that was a former roommate of mine. It was non-functional. It was like a family heirloom 1952 S series Hammond. Kind of a bizarre contraption, but he was offering to pay me to fix it, and fortunately mechanically it was actually very sturdy. It just needed hundreds of capacitors replaced, because they had
just hundreds,
just a nice 30 something hour job. So finished that up, and I was like, well, I have to put it on a recording, and it kind of worked well. The intro of Undertow, there's no repeating sections, and the intro is kind of talking about like a more sentimental time, so having that vintage organ over it was pretty cool. It worked musically very well.
Yeah, it was exactly what we needed for that part too,
yeah.
So good job, Trevor. 30 hours well spent.
There was a Periscope song, bringing them up again, So It Goes, that I fixed a Rhodes and used that on there, and it was a similar situation where it's like, wow, that really was like the perfect sort of thing. So sometimes those repair and rebuild jobs end up being really good studio flavors as well.
Well, it's always nice to just kind of have something new up in the mix that isn't usually up in the mix.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's like some old, instrument.
Yeah.
Like some quirky thing that can only kind of do one thing. You just use it on something good and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it wasn't yours, so you have to give it back to the owner.
Yeah.
Although you said it's a roommate of yours, so is it still at your place?
Oh no, this he had actually moved like a couple years prior, and it had just been hanging out.
Roommate. Okay, gotcha.
But it worked pretty well. My fear about working on it was that it just wouldn't, like, I would address what I thought was the issue, and then it's like, well, it still just doesn't work. There's something else wrong. But no, those Hammonds are built like tanks, and they're built to be serviced too. It was actually, there's a good online community for like how to work on those things, because obviously they're not made anymore. So, and they sound really cool, and they're like built like tanks.
I imagine moving it around was one of the worst parts of working on it. Like
Yes.
Yeah, no wheels, huh?
No wheels. I don't know if they ever had a model that came stock with wheels. A lot of them don't have solid bottom too, so it's like you wouldn't want to screw casters onto them. They're so heavy, and like the hardwood shell is one thing, but I think the panels on the bottom are not always hardwood. I don't know if you'd want to be putting that much weight on it, but
not in like 4 or even 6 particular locations.
Right.
Yeah, they're heavy. That's super cool. If I ever come across an old organ and I have some money.
Oh no, don't. Well, it's.
So you're like, you said money,
man, yeah.
Well, time ain't free, and that stuff's hard to work on, and I certainly couldn't do it. Do you repair your own gear as well when it needs to be repaired?
Yeah, I always try. I do like doing things myself as much as possible. Of course, there are limitations, but a couple of my most recent upgrades for my studio actually were kits from like DIY Recording. That's a really cool company. I recently built an 1176 clone from Hairball Audio. That was really cool. And just today finished wiring up a new headphone distribution system. It's an old Furman, but I wired all the Ethernet patching for it. So as much as I can do myself is good.
He's the IT department
of the band. Of Dark Satellite.
Yes.
Well, and if you have your own recording studio, you have to be your own IT department these days too. what software are you guys using? Which DAW are you in when you record?
Reaper. So I'd been using Pro Tools for like about 10 years actually, and then Little House was actually the last song that I recorded in my old sort of setup where I had a Soundcraft board and was still running Pro Tools, and then I ended up switching to using more like rack preamps and not using a analog board, but actually just having a touch screen. And when I did that overhaul, I also switched to Reaper, and that's been really cool. It's very customizable, very stable, and is not a subscription. So that's a really nice thing about it.
Another interesting thing about Reaper is there's a Linux version of it available for folks like me if I would like to use it. I haven't purchased it, but there's a Linux version of that. A lot of podcasters who do maybe slightly different stuff than what I'm doing, where they need more multi-tracking, they'll use Reaper because like our door is not really there, and you should never use Audacity in live audio production ever. It's not very stable.
Oh, what are you running?
I don't capture in multi-track anymore.
Oh,
it's stereo, but I can show you the system because this is like a customized Linux install here.
Wow.
We're not you probably know about OBS, the software I'm using to do the scene switching. That's like the industry standard, but everything else here is, probably a bunch of software you've never heard of. Like there's the DSP is all from a company called Cat. Well, company. Again, this is open source stuff. The word company is an interesting thing, right?
Oh, right.
Because they're probably hemorrhaging money and relying on volunteers. But yeah, it's different. It's not, the software is not going to be like super familiar to people. But the gearheads who come through here generally think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you use for preamps? What do you guys have there for the mics?
Oh, well, my favorite channels are so I've got two LA 610s, so that's Universal Audio's 610 preamp, and then there's a channel strip with preamp, the shelving EQ, and then the optical compressors, and then I have one 6176, which is another 610 preamp into the 1176 FET compressor circuit, and then I've got an SSL alpha channel, which is actually like my go-to for guitar, pretty much across the board. And then I've got a quad of Cytex. I don't know much about that company, but a couple of people had recommended them. They're super clean. I like to use them on overheads, room mics, and stuff like that, drums. And then, yeah, I've got the interface preamps on my RME Fireface 800. So, yeah, I'm still running a Firewire 800 system, but really still works fine.
How are you getting that into a modern computer?
Well, I'm not using a modern computer. So that it's a 2012 Mac Mini, and it's instead of the Fusion drive, I have two solid states in there in RAID. So still keeping up, still chugging away. I mean, it survived editing that video, that 6K footage.
That almost killed it, though.
Well, I wouldn't say it almost killed it. It only crashed once in, editing that whole video.
It was nerve-wracking editing that, and then just like something freezing, and then the computer getting really hot, and we're like, oh boy.
Yeah, because those don't really have a graphics card in them, really, to like help with whereas I don't know, there's not a big graphics card in here because I don't game, but definitely if there was no graphics card in here, I would notice it when I opened a video editor for sure, and I wouldn't be able to stream at all.
Oh, right, yeah.
Would not be able to do all the scene switching and stuff. So that has a Firewire 800 port on it. One Firewire. That is a long time ago. It doesn't seem like it's that long ago until you think about that. It's 11 years ago.
That is, yeah.
And you don't. Well, I mean, that makes sense though, because you were talking about all your DSP, and all your DSP is hardware,
right? I even have like analog. My main reverb bus is actually two spring reverbs that are rack mounted. And yeah, I mean, like most of my compressors, I've got a 500 series rack with 10 channels of various kinds of compression and limiting, and even a pair of Pultec. So I actually have Pultec EQs That's probably the biggest gear improvement I've made recently.
Yeah, so you don't need a whole bunch of compute horsepower.
Exactly. And the Reaper plugins, especially, I have to say, they're so efficient and they work really well too. I'm not big into coding. I think it runs on JavaScript. Actually, I don't think it's like but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure because it says JS next to the plugins. So
yeah, they might be. I'll have to ask one of my friends if he knows much about that.
yeah.
Well, that's very fucking cool. Do you guys do your own mastering, or do you send that off?
We do our own mastering as well.
Yeah, we're all in house. We do everything.
Trevor seems to have the same problem I have. It's called not invented here syndrome, where if it's not invented here, you don't want to use it. It's
right.
But that's cool in a way too, because then you don't need anybody. There's ways in which it kind of sucks, because there are ways in which you cannot possibly be the best person at every individual task that goes into producing something. But if you might be the best person for all those tasks. It seems like everything that comes out of there sounds real good.
Oh, thank you.
And where is the studio at? Is it like a home studio, or are you renting office space, or what's up?
It is a home studio. It actually is the original house of Cactus House. So Cactus House was a miner's cabin in the late 1800s. I'm out in New Almaden, so that's an old mining town. So that got built up in the hills and then dragged down to the spot that it's at. So that's like a 200 square foot redwood miner's cabin, and that is now the studio. I just put like a 500-pound steel sound door that separates it from the addition that was built in the 60s and then renovated over a couple years when I moved in. So that's the rest of the house back there. And yeah, it is kind of cool. It actually is the best sounding room in the house. I did try recording a lot of different things all around the house, just in the early days, just kind of for fun and with friends. And actually the early Dark Satellite recordings are some of those, where we were putting amps in like hallways and stuff and just trying things out.
It was before he had a soundproof door.
Right, so I would always just tell my roommates, hey, sorry, it's going to be loud for a while.
I was the loud one to piss them off. But I was putting amps in his kitchen, like 22-watt combo tube amps, and just cranking it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reflective surfaces in there. You heard that shit all throughout the house. Yeah.
Right, absolutely. But no, I mean, everyone was cool with it, and it takes a long time to like really build up the setup that I have now, where I've got 2 heavy steel core sound doors and acrylic panels over all the windows, and I'm actually still building bass traps and things like that. It's an ongoing process. I'm sure you can relate to this, where it's like you shoot your room and you're like, I still have this like big lump at 40 hertz, and so
it's for me, it's generally because like what we're doing here, like we're we care a great deal about how our show sounds. When we first got to Twitch, people accused us of being pre-record.
Oh.
They were like, this is pre-recorded, this isn't real. I was like, shut up, this is real. I'm like, you're the only person in my chat and I'm talking to you right now. But it's different for us. It's been, now it's me, because I lived with Ashley for a while, and Chip was always on the show when I was in Campbell, and like it's kind of whittling down to where it's just me. But the problem's all lighting now. It's almost always lighting. Like I'm not happy with the lighting right now.
I do like this green light behind.
Oh, it looks great. It's just like I'm just. You understand, what I'm talking about, where it's, you're like, no, this looks great. What are you talking about? Well, that's because you don't do video, right? And I'm like, your album sounds great. Your mixing sounds great. And you're like, well, there was this one part in this song, actually, I'm not very happy with at all, sir.
Oh boy. Yeah.
We all do it. We all do it to ourselves, but that's how you get better at stuff.
Yeah,
The-
totally.
And the part that sucks actually is when you start becoming good at something, right? Because then your improvements are just smaller and smaller and smaller, and then nobody else notices the things you've improved.
Oh no, exactly. And that's the stuff that takes the longest. Like I doubt anyone's going to hear the difference with like, oh, I built a better bass trap. It's actually shaped correctly, and it's like you can't really hear the difference necessarily. It's just less bass buildup if you're miking something near the corner.
Well, and it's going to work in conjunction with other things.
Things, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, sure, yeah, like when we first started doing this and we replaced all the $20 mics with better mics. Yeah, people heard that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but then I replaced this crappy M audio box I have with these Focusrite boxes, and nobody noticed. Nobody noticed anything. I was like, it sounds so much better, and they're like, no, it doesn't.
Oh.
But it's that stuff. It's fun for like a creator, for the creator. You're going in there. Part of the reason you're upgrading your studio is because it's fun. It's a hobby. You want to build it out. You want it to be the way that you want it to be. And it doesn't really matter that much if people notice the incremental improvement, because what people will probably notice is the year over year or 18-month over 18-month period improvement in the way things sound.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's real good. And that's the kind of stuff that I notice is somebody will, be gone, or like, just people that are like my friends or whatever that aren't really that interested in the content here, and they come back, they're like, oh wow, your lighting looks great now. And I'm like, oh shit, really? Okay, good. Like you haven't seen it in a year. Good. Well, it's been really fun talking to the two of you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been, thanks for having us.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm out of the South Bay now, but I'm like right in between everybody. So you all want to go get a beer or something sometime, let me know. There's this open mic that Melody Renee does over here, right just around the way at Jack's. So I know you guys are professional musicians, but that doesn't mean you can't go to an open mic and have a few beers and check out mostly old folks playing like Creedence Clearwater songs and stuff. It's pretty fun, actually.
That's cool.
That's fun.
Yeah. We'll definitely stay in touch.
Yeah.
Where's the best place for people to find you? I didn't even ask that at the upfront.
It's
Like,
okay.
where would you prefer? Like, if people were going to go look for Dark Satellite, and then if people were going to go look for Cactus House, where would you send them for each of those places?
For the band, for Dark Satellite, Instagram, just Dark Satellite Band. And we also have a link tree on there that will bring you to, our Facebook, Spotify, Bandcamp, Apple Music, all that stuff, our music videos. And we list all our shows in the bio of the Instagram too.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll make sure to put the link tree, at least probably more than just the link tree, but it'll be in the show notes for the podcast.
But Instagram, you can message us, and if there's any questions, if you're trying to go to one of our shows and you have questions about it, feel free to send us a message.
Man, you guys are pretty friendly, so
Most of the time.
most of the time. And then where would you want people to look for Cactus House?
Oh, I'm also on Instagram, but cactushouserecording.com would be perfect. And I actually have it set up now where people can book online. So there's actually, I switched over to Squarespace to use their scheduling.
That's what my website's on too. I've been like a web developer and I run servers and stuff. But when we went to put this project together, I was like, no, we're going to use Squarespace so that everybody can contribute. And
Right.
I was under the impression that other people were going to help me with the website.
Well, yeah, websites are, Squarespace is a lot easier. I did start on WordPress and I switched to Squarespace for the booking, but yeah, it's a cool platform. It definitely makes things a lot easier. And there's also Dark Satellite. Is it darksatelliteband.com?
Yeah, darksatelliteband.com. That's also in our link tree. So we got a lot of places you can find us.
And for getting the music, for the Dark Satellite music, I mean, you probably prefer people order the physical CD from you if they can. But the overwhelming consensus has been Bandcamp from all the artists, that Bandcamp is the best.
And we understand, we have CDs, and one thing we hear at shows is like, oh, my car doesn't even have a CD player. So we hear that a lot. But we like to keep our prices as cheap as we could, so we can get our music out there, and we hope people enjoy it and enjoy the art and all that.
Very good. Well, we're going to close this out with Thousand Sunny Days by Dark Satellite. This has been a lot of fun, and this is the first Local Love recording in this new studio here in the East Bay. So, and it might be a while for the next one. Who knows? We'll see who hits us up. It's just the homies and like, you know, you guys, because
Awesome.
Because everybody probably is interested in hearing about the studio that Boomers was recorded in. Honestly, my fucking chat just absolutely loves that song. But anyway, no more talking about Matt. This is Dark Satellite, Thousand Sunny Days.
Right,
This has been Local Love, and this has been great. I almost put a fork in this project, but I'm glad you guys emailed me.
Can't get enough Echoplex and want to keep the conversation going with the hosts and community when we're not live? Then join our Discord server at discord.me/Echoplex. We have text channels, voice channels, meme repositories, and a whole section of screenshots that we don't even remember where they came from. Come join the Now Space on Discord at discord.me/Echoplex.